So now our horizontal chest circles. We've already done the slides, that's on a separate video if you need to review it. What you need to find as a movement now is a forward and backwards with your chest. The point I like to think about is somewhere mid-back, literally where my bra strap pretty much hits my back. Again, I've got hands somewhere on my thighs to keep them still, and I'm finding a slide forward and backwards of the chest and rib cage. Little things to think about here. You want the hips relatively still. I say relatively because actually if you go a long way forward, it will tip your hips slightly forward. You just can't stretch anymore here. And if you go a long, long way back, it will start to tip your hips a little bit back. So the hips are going to move a tiny, tiny bit, or you have to keep it quite still. You want the shoulders, again, to stay relatively still. You'll find is the temptation, the shoulders want to go the opposite way. And that ends up being funky chicken, which again isn't a good look. So you really want to think about the shoulders being the still point, and you're letting the chest, the ribcage slide behind the shoulders and in front of the shoulders, with the shoulders staying relatively still. The next point about what you do with your head is a bit of a styling choice. I was saying on the side to side, I like to keep my head fairly still. When you're doing this forward and backwards, you can also keep your head fairly still. So if you watch this version, it is fairly still. And I do tend to drill it this way. Having said that, when I'm dancing it, the forward one is fine. The backward one, if you leave your head still, ends up looking a little bit like this. It's not quite that bad. It does look a little bit collapsed. And so it often looks better if you take your head backwards with the backwards bit. So I actually take the head a little bit behind me and let the head go back. And from the side, here's the two versions. This is just chest forward and back. And this is now letting the head go back with it. So it becomes almost, it's not quite a lean, but you have a little bit more of the whole of the body moving. It's a slightly prettier line. So that gives you your forward and backwards. And I'm going to go ahead straight into your horizontal circles, having got all of those together. So to find your horizontal circles now, you need to put those four directions together. The easiest way to do that is to do it essentially in quarters. So you really do think, okay, we're going to start taking ribcage to the right, over to the right. You're then going to swing it around a quarter so that it comes forward. So that finds 1/4 of the circle, you've got ribcage forward. You now need your next quarter that's going to bring you around to the left. You're then going to find the next quarter that takes you to the back, and you can let your head go back with this one. So you'll let the head go back, and then you finish your circle, bring it back round to where you started. And doing it in quarters will really help you keep it precise. So once more in quarters, you're going again to the side. Swing it around to the front. Swing it around to the side again. Take it to the back. And take it to the side. And then all you have to do to get your circle is just don't feel you're stopping on the quarters. You just let that circle come round. This one, I am letting my head go back towards the back of it. If I wanted to keep my head really still, it would look like this instead. Which again isn't wrong, it's just a sort of styling choice. And of course there's the other side, which I'll give you quickly while you're at it. So the other side just starts sliding to your left. And again from there, finding that quarter circle to go forward, a quarter circle to the right, a quarter circle to the back, letting the head go with you, if that's the choice you've made, and back to where you started. So again, you have it in quarters, to the side, and forward, and side, and back. And this gives you your circle round this way. Something else you may want to think about is that if you really want to keep it a circle, not a ellipse, you might find, for example, that you can go further to the sides than you can backwards and forwards, or vice versa. Obviously, to make it actually properly a circle, you need to keep it in the range that you can keep it easy. So you might find you don't actually go quite as far to the sides as you could, for the sake of keeping it a really precise circle. And those are your horizontal chest and ribcage circles.